Recently I rewatched Charles Laughton's 1955 film, The Night of the Hunter, a sort of horror noir known mostly for its dreamy black and white visuals. The Night of the Hunter was Charles Laughton's only film. It was met with critical disapproval and indifference, but now it's seen as one of the pivotal films of the 50s. It's one of Martin Scorsese's favorites, and Roger Ebert calls it one of the greatest of all American films. So what makes it so great? Why is it so important? And what did viewers miss in the beginning? Well, to understand the background of the film, we're going to have to review a little film history. For those of you who haven't seen the film, it's a fairly simple plot. In the midst of the Great Depression, a murderous preacher settles in a small town in search of hidden money. But a young boy and his sister must protect themselves and others from the man's corruption. What's more important, though, is the film's visually stylish and imaginative approach. It draws quite a lot from the era of German Expressionism, a period of artistic explosion after World War I. German filmmakers such as Fritz Lang and F.W. Murnau flourished in creating stylistic movies that defied standard conformist films of the time. Atmosphere was exaggerated, the sets were unrealistic, and the cinematography was impractical. However, all of this was used for the strengthening of the film's aesthetic. A few examples would be movies like Nosferatu, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, and Metropolis. Expressionism even showed up in architecture and painting, among other forms of art. Charles Laughton took the elements of German Expressionism, specifically the shadows, silhouettes, and smoke of the lighting, and implemented them in his film. Many noir directors did the same, directing black and white crime films that are now iconic for their flair and style. Take a look at a couple clips from The Night of the Hunter, and you'll see what I'm talking about. This lighting is completely unrealistic. There's no source of light visible in the room that would create this sort of effect, yet it's powerful because it symbolizes the woman's confinement and impending doom, as it closely resembles a casket. Even the props exhibit this surrealism. This spiderweb is pretty clearly fake, but the ambience it creates is so compelling. Let's look at a film that can be considered realistic, something that relates more to the real world, like American Beauty, for example. The rain in this shot is completely exaggerated, yet it matches the somber mood of the scene. Even bits of surrealism are seen throughout the film. All movies are littered with this sort of expressionism. Realistic would be boring, that's why films are made the way they are. So what exactly is expressionism then? Couldn't all films be considered expressionist? Movies are simply suspension of disbelief. Art is a representation of the world around us. It's what we make out of what we see. The Night of the Hunter is a perfect example of this because all the nuances and details work together to create a film that defies reality. So why was The Night of the Hunter such a failure with audiences? Well, it was an anomaly at the time because it was so inventive. If I had to guess, I'd say that it was because of the time and place in which it was released, mid-50s America. The 1950s were a paradigm for conformity and a newer, stronger sense of society. Popular films of the era were classic Hollywood movies, musicals, comedies, epics. Many were very similar, formulaic, wholesome, and traditionalist, reflecting American communities themselves. There was a natural desire to follow convention. Consequently, films like The Night of the Hunter were alienated. However, decades later, Laughton's film sees its necessary revival. It even brings up the important point that the way a story is told can sometimes be more important than the story itself. Thanks so much to everyone watching. Definitely check out The Night of the Hunter. There's a Criterion DVD of it that is definitely worth the purchase. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll hopefully have another one up soon.